Good afternoon, I'm Steve Spencer from SMB Capital and SMBU. Today I'm going to be talking about developing a trading process. The importance of developing a process is that you will get two key benefits. Number one, you will become more consistent as a trader. And number two, having a process in place is going to allow you to adapt more easily to changing market conditions. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Kind of scratch the surface a little bit. Obviously, we can get a lot more in depth in this topic, and that's what we do for those who are part of the desk. And I'll talk to you about a little bit at the end of the video how you can participate a little bit more in depth in this process with us as well. All traders are in search of consistency, and the reason as traders we search for consistency is the psychological and emotional toll that these gyrations of P&L takes on us as traders can really be the thing that eliminates many people from the game. So if we can kind of smooth out the results more like this as opposed to a lot of this, it's going to allow you to have a longer career and stay in the game. The second thing is, just from a practical standpoint, if the results are going up and down like this, you know, if that most recent downturn was just too severe, it wipes a lot of people out of the game. Whether it's their personal account gets wiped out, whether the firm that's backing them says, that's it, that was too much, you're out, you just get eliminated from the game. And if this is something that you love and want to do as a career for the next 20, 30, 40 years, what you need to do is develop processes that are going to allow those results to be a lot smoother. What can we do in order to kind of smooth out those results and develop a trading process? Well, what we can do is develop habits and routines. In this great book, The Power of Habit, it talks about this idea that 90% of the things that we do and the decisions we make each day are done on an unconscious level. And the way that we can successfully navigate life and our chosen profession, is by developing routines that allow us to perform at a high level and not having to think about every single minutia of every single thing that we want to do in our process each day. And so what I'm going to lay out for you today is a few things that I do as a trader and some of the things that traders on our desk do to kind of develop these habits through routines, doing these things on a daily basis. And what that allows them to do is grow as traders and be more consistent. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is how I start my day each day. What I call this is a pre-market routine. These are things that I do every day without fail, and if something disrupts me for some reason from these routines, I understand for that particular day that I may have to step back and slow down because these routines, they're just built into my day, and they're part of my success on a daily basis, why I can be consistently profitable as a trader. So come in each morning, get into the office around 7:30. First thing I do, grab my mug, fill it up at the water cooler with water. Next thing I do is I sit down in front of my computer, in front of my workspace, and I make sure everything is set up appropriately for me to do my pre-market work. Whether it's my stock selection, taking my notes, entering my alerts. Got to make sure everything is done in the same way each day. That way I'm more efficient, and through that process, I'm basically setting myself up for success when the market opens by being properly prepared for the market each day. The last thing that I do after I run the morning meeting for the desk and for those people who are part of the SMB community is I write down my top 3 trading ideas. And this serves a couple of things. Number one, it holds me accountable. When I do my morning review after I've traded the open, I can look at my top 3 trading ideas and I can say, hey, how did I execute on those ideas? I can also look at those ideas and say, you know, were they good ideas? Were they bad, not so good ideas? And I can improve my trading selection and my game planning through that review of those top 3 ideas. So those are just some of the things that I do in the pre-market. Now I have routines when the market actually opens each day, and actually writing down the 3 ideas made it to my trading routine, because there's a little bit of an overlap there. That's part of my trading process. The next thing I do is I enter alerts for stops and targets for every new position. Now sometimes right on the open, when things are moving quickly, I'm not going to be able to do that right at that second, But if things start to slow down a little bit, I make sure that every new position, whether it's, I'm short Netflix or I'm long Yahoo, as soon as I get into those positions, I have an idea of where I'm going to be right and where I'm going to be wrong. Where I'm going to be right is those are profit targets. So what I'll do is I'll hit a button on my platform, and what you see right there is what pops up, and I put in my price. It's set as an alert only, and there's a few different ways that I use these things. Number one, let's take the profit target alerts first. I enter a stock. I'm in at $50. I'm long. My upside targets are $50, $50, and $51. So I'll set an alert at $50.30, $50.40 as it's approaching my first target. If those alerts go off very quickly, I know that this stock has a lot of momentum, and I'm going to be careful about actually not taking off too much of the position at my initial target. In fact, if it has a lot of momentum, maybe I'll even look for a spot to add to the position. The flip side is obviously when we enter into a trade, we have to be prepared for that position not to work. And let's say I got long at $50 and my stop is below 50.80 and below below 49.80 and 49.70. I'll have alerts as it gets closer to my area where I'm going to be stopped out. The reason that's important is how a stock looks when it approaches our stop out price is important as well. If I have a stop at 49.79 and I see as it's approaching that price, 49.85, there's a lot of buying. There's 50,000 shares of being bid at 49.80. I may actually add to that position, triple or quadruple up, and just put a stop right below that 80 cents as well. So very, very important in terms of management to put in these alerts as soon as a position has opened. One of the other routines that I do is after the market opens is at 10 o'clock. I look up at the S&P radar. I look at those lists, strong today, weak today, in play, and I'm looking for new ideas, new setups. And the reason why this is important is the S&P radar, it's tracking what are the best intraday stocks for that particular day. And if I'm not looking at the radar at 10 o'clock, 10:15, 10:30, every 15 minutes, I'm going to be missing some of the best setups and trades that develop intraday. Now, a lot of times the radar may contain things from my pre-market routine, if I've done a really good job in the pre-market, but each day, new things happen when the market opens, and I'm going to get new trading ideas. And again, this routine becomes a habit, and what happens is by having that habit, I get more good trading ideas each day, which is very important at the end of the month. I add incrementally quite a bit to my P&L from those radar trades. Now I want to kind of look at some of these mentees trading routines, traders on the desk that we train, as well as traders that we train for SMBU. We want to make sure that they're doing these things on a daily basis. Number one, a playbook trade every day. Partner Mike Bellafiore developed something called a playbook trade a few years ago. The concept behind this was if we internalize our best trades on a daily basis, we'll start to trade, we'll spot them more often in the market, and we'll trade them bigger. And so every new trainee for their first 6 months at SMB is required to do a playbook trade every single day. Becomes a habit, becomes a routine, and it's no coincidence that the top 2 or 3 people we've trained in the last few years, these were traders that actually did playbook trades on a daily basis. Number 2, work on custom filters. In our case, we have our own in-house technology where we can actually customize different types of trading setups that we see occur on a regular basis. This one right here is what I call the break and retrace. Funny thing was, that actually worked with a really nice setup today in BRCM. I actually traded it on a manual basis, but what you're seeing right here, this coding, this would pop up, I could flip a button, say I want to risk X amount of dollars on this trade, and has the key prices. It actually knows how to trade it for me if I actually wasn't trading this on a discretionary basis. So you want to work on your custom filters, whether it's to make you alert to certain setups occurring where you trade them on a discretionary basis, or you're gray boxing them as well, meaning the computer is going to take over some of the entries and the exit and actually trade it actively for you. And then finally, on a daily basis, we have multiple mentoring sessions. The reason it's important to be in a mentoring session with an experienced trader is they're going to expose you to their thought process, how they were trading things for the day. Maybe you can improve on your playbook. Maybe you can add some new things to your playbook as well. So here's something that we want to do on a daily basis, this idea of journaling. This is a screenshot of one of the pages on a particular day from SMBU Performance Center. Trader can put in their notes for that particular day. The reason why we want to journal live during the day is at that time, what were we thinking about that trade? What were we feeling about our emotions, our energy level? Put that in during the day, and we can go back after the close and then start to go, continue our process of reviewing individual trades. But very important to start journaling intraday when things slow down a little bit. Next thing I wanted to talk about was this idea of kind of the review process after the close. And so this is kind of a format that I like to use. At the end of the day, we have all of our radar lists. So we have all the things that were in play, all the things that were strong, all the things that were weak. I want to go down and I want to start looking on my platform and my charts, all of those stocks, see what's setting up for second day plays, putting in important price alerts. But I'm also getting images in my mind. The great thing about the radar is it's tracking the things that were the best that day. So as I'm working my way down the list, I'm seeing, what do those chart patterns look like for the strongest stocks that day, the weakest stocks that day? Because the next time those trades start to unfold a little bit earlier in the pattern, maybe I can capitalize because I've internalized more of those really, really nice setups. Next thing, go to the Performance Center, look at the stats, kind of crunch my numbers, take notes on individual trades, understand that, was I making the most money in my best ideas? Was I underperforming, overperforming, performing right in line, and trying to understand and just putting in your notes for individual trades, things that you can do better for the next day, the next week, for that month, etc. Talk to other traders, very important. What were they in for that day? That's part of the review process. Were they in the same stocks as you? How did they trade them? Sharing information, maybe getting new ideas how to tweak your technique a little bit. And then again, attending those mentoring sessions after the close where we have a very successful trader from the desk, talk about a topic from the day, thoughts, things that they're thinking about, maybe some of the trades that they did, and again, just improving from getting that feedback from a more experienced trader. So to recap for you today, we talked about developing a trading process, which is about developing habits and routines. Our key benefits are our results are going to be more consistent because our work is going to be consistent on a daily basis. And then also, by having this process where we're reviewing our work every day, by having a process where we're identifying key trades in the pre-market, what we see is we're staying in tune with the market. And if certain trades start working not as well and certain trades are working better, we're going to be able to adapt more quickly. And then finally, by developing custom filters, by doing these playbook trades every single day, you're going to be able to better exploit your trading edge, which is something that we all want to do in the long term, because if we can better exploit our edge, results improve and they go up with less risk. 3 days on the desk in August. The trading process, you're exposed to some of the things I talked about today. You're going to get a lot more in depth on that, a lot more detail. Some of the topics covering stock selection, developing your trading edge, becoming more bionic, and working with pros. These are things that I think, whether you're a novice trader, intermediate, or very experienced, this sort of thing, 3-day kind of trading camp in August on the desk is going to help you improve from whatever level you're at. Hopefully some of these things were helpful today. Thanks for joining me.